But thou wilt say, I am afraid lest I offend those above me. By all means be afraid of offending them, and so thou wilt not offend God. For thou who art afraid lest thou offend those above thee, see whether there be not one above him whom thou art afraid of offending. By all means then be loth to offend those above thee. This is an established rule with thee. But then is it not plain, that he must on no account be offended, who is above all others? Run over now the list of those above thee. First are thy father and mother, if they are educating thee aright. If they are bringing thee up for Christ, they are to be heard in all things, they must be obeyed in every command. Let them enjoin nothing against one above themselves, and so let them be obeyed. And who, thou wilt say, is above him who begot me? He who created thee. For man begets, but God creates. How it is that man begets, he does not know, and what he shall beget, he does not know. But he who saw thee that he might make thee, before that he whom he made existed, is surely above thy father. Thy country again should be above thy very parents, so that whereinsoever thy parents enjoin aught against thy country, they are not to be listened to. And whatsoever thy country enjoin against God, it is not to be listened to. For if thou wilt be healed, if after the issue of blood, if after 12 years' continuance in that disease, if after having spent thine all upon physicians, and not having received health, thou dost wish at length to be made whole, O woman, whom I am addressing as a figure of the church, thy father enjoineth thee this, and thy people that. But thy Lord saith to thee, forget thine own people, and thy father's house. For what good? For what advantage? With what useful result? Because the king hath desired thy beauty. He hath desired what he made, since when deformed he loved thee, that he might make thee beautiful. For the unbelieving and deformed, he shed his blood, and he made thee faithful and beauteous, he hath loved his own gifts in thee. For what didst thou bring to thy spouse? What didst thou receive for dowry from thy former father, and former people? Was it not the excesses and the rags of sins? Thy rags he cast away, thy robe impure he tore asunder. He pitied thee that he might adorn thee. He adorned thee, that he might love thee. If he who is over thee be a good man, he is thy nourisher. If a bad man, he is thy tempter. Receive the nourishment in the one case with gladness, and in the temptation show thyself approved. Be thou gold. Regard this world as the furnace of the goldsmith. In one narrow place are there things, gold, chaff, fire. To the two former the fire is applied, the chaff is burned, and the gold purified. A man has yielded to threats, and been led away to the idol's temple, alas! I bewail the chaff, I see the ashes. Another has not yet yielded to threats nor terrors, has been brought before the judge, and stood firm in his confession, and has not bent down to the idol image. What is the flame with him? Does it not purify the gold? Stand fast then, brethren, in the Lord, greater in power is he who hath called you. Be not afraid of the threats of the ungodly. Bear with your enemies. In them ye have those for whom ye may pray. Let them by no means terrify you. This is saving health. Draw out in this feast here from this source. Here drink that wherewith ye may be satisfied, and not in those other feasts, that only whereby ye may be maddened. Stand fast in the Lord. Ye are silver, ye shall be gold. This similitude is not our own, it is out of Holy Scripture. Ye have read and heard, as gold in the furnace hath he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. See what ye shall be among the treasures of God. Be ye rich as touching God, not as if to make him rich, but as to become rich from him. Let him replenish you, admit not else into your heart. Do we lift up ourselves unto pride, or tell you to be despisers against the powers ordained? Not so. Do ye again who are sick on this point, touch also that border of the garment? The apostle himself saith, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God, the powers that be are ordained of God. He then who resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God. But what if it enjoin what thou oughtest not to do? In this case by all means disregard the power through fear of power. Consider these several grades of human powers. If the magistrate enjoin anything, must it not be done? Yet if his order be in opposition to the proconsul, thou dost not surely despise the power, but choosest to obey a greater power. Nor in this case ought the less to be angry, if the greater be preferred. Again, if the proconsul himself enjoin anything, and the emperor another thing, is there any doubt that disregarding the former, we ought to obey the latter? So then if the emperor enjoin one thing, and God another, what judge ye? Pay me tribute, submit thyself to my allegiance. Right, but not in an idol's temple. In an idol's temple he forbids it. Who forbids it? A greater power. Pardon me then. Thou threatenest a prison, he threateneth hell. Here must thou at once take to thee thy faith as a shield, whereby thou mayest be able to quench all the fiery darts of the enemy. But one of these powers is plotting and contriving evil designs against thee. Well, he is but sharpening the razor wherewith to shave the hair, but not to cut the head. Ye have but just now heard this that I have said in the psalm, Thou hast worked deceit like a sharp razor. Why did he compare the deceit of a wicked man in power to a razor? Because it does not reach, save to our superfluous parts. As hairs on our body seem as it were superfluous, and are shaven off without any loss of the flesh, so whatsoever an angry man in power can take from thee, count only among thy superfluities. He takes away thy poverty, can he take away thy wealth? Thy poverty is thy wealth in thy heart. Thy superfluous things only hath he power to take away, these only hath he power to injure, even though he had license given him so far as to hurt the body. Yea, even this life itself to those whose thoughts are of another life, this present life, I say, may be reckoned among the things superfluous. For so the martyrs have despised it. They did not lose life, but they gained life.